Yeah, please come, Ishita.
Good morning.
Good morning. Please sit down. So, Ishita, please introduce yourself to the panel.
Sir, I'm Ishita Kishore. I'm a graduate in economics from Sri Ram College of Commerce, Delhi University. After that, I went on to work with Ernst & Young in risk advisory for 2 years. Sir, I've been an active sports person in my life, and I think that has shaped my personality to a great extent.
Ishita, as I see from your DAF, you have been an all-rounder performance in school, best student,
Yes, sir.
right? So, what were the benchmarks of being an all-rounder there?
Sir, apart from good academic performance, the faculty of the school also looked into the co-curricular participation of the students, how much they participated in debating activities, in interact club activities, in sports activities, and also in holding positions of responsibility in the school.
So, if you would aim to be an all-rounder performer as a civil servant, what do you think should the benchmarks be?
Sir, I think as a civil servant, firstly, the ability to work in a team, being a team player is very important because working in silos will not
That's
help.
one. What else?
So, secondly, leadership skills are very important. The ability to take quick decisions and timely decisions by considering all possible factors is important. So, the third factor would be having the ability to achieve excellence in diverse set of activities in a short period of time, because civil servants are often transferred into different departments, into different districts, and have to give the results.
Okay. You're a student of political science,
Yes.
right? The Chief Justice of India has made a statement today that collegium may not be the perfect mode, but at the moment it is the best solution and the best way to ensure independence of judiciary. What have you to say?
Sir, I agree with the remarks of the Chief Justice of India, because there might be systems that can be defined as best, but society must focus on what is best practicable and keep on improving it as the time evolves and as the society evolves. I think currently the collegium system of recruiting judges and selection of judges is working well, but it can be improved by elaborating the panel and the selection.
Suppose if I were to say, Ishita, that the youngsters like you, we have interviewed a large number of candidates
Yes.
like you, and majority of them are of the opinion that collegium is opaque.
Yes.
So, do you think that what CGI is saying that this is the best? It may be his version, but what do people think?
Yes, sir. I believe that it was the best practicable solution at a particular time, but the demands of the society and the awareness of the people demands a system that is more transparent, that has more visibility about what are the parameters, what are the factors being considered when a selection is being made. So I think there are better solutions today.
So, was NJEC a better solution, Ishita?
Sir, while the intent of NJAC was to elaborate the selection panel and the selection committee, I feel that giving the government also an equal say in appointment can lead to certain collusion in the decision making.
So, some middle path has to be
Yes.
found. All right. Coming to economics.
Yes.
Now, I have a feeling that we are very, good friends of Russia. But we are not following the economic pattern of Russia. We are following the capitalist model of USA. So, is our friendship with the Russia not ideological, but only based on certain, say, requirements of India, like defense and oil?
Sir, at the eve of independence, India did have two options, whether to follow the Russian model or the American capitalist model. And India took a middle path and followed a mixed economy pattern. And I feel that is relevant even today. The government is present in certain strategic sectors where it feels its presence is necessary to regulate, whereas it also gives the free market and the laissez-faire model to a number of sectors and promotes free trade.
Suppose if I have to say that I don't believe that we are moving towards, or we are still with mixed economy, the divestment of public sector and shifting from public sector, monetization of public sector under the many schemes of asset monetization. All these things are basically, we are diluting the state's organizations. That is not the purpose of mixed economy.
Sir, I agree that we are divesting, and but government is not being in business anymore. Rather, government is still playing a regulatory role, and government is still present in many strategic sectors across.
Suppose airports. Yes. It is not a profit making. It is not a business. We have given airports to the private sector.
Yes.
The airports were doing very well. So on the aspect of efficiency also, can you say that this was required? Maybe some public sector undertaking may not be doing well. So is it that the capitalist economy is being thrust upon Indian economy?
Sir, I don't think that it is being thrust upon the Indian economy. After the 1990s, we have seen the wave of neoliberalism across the world and a more free market structure. And even in our airports, sir, India prefers a model that is private-public partnership. And this was recommended by Kelkar committee also. So India is finding a balance between the various forces.
Okay. My last question.
Yes.
You have been a delegate of Indo-China youth.
Yes.
But that must have been you were very small.
Sorry, sir?
That you must be very small at that time.
Sir,
in
this
school.
was in 2017.
This was, okay, graduated. So why is China not settling the border issue with India?
Sir, I think China, and especially the Communist Party over there, believes that US is a declining power and China must take center stage now. And to prevent India's growth in the region, it is leveraging the border issues and preventing India's economic growth by diverting its focus on the borders. So in this way, China ensures its regional hegemony and thereby it is walking towards a global hegemony as well.
Thank you, Ishita. I pass on to our member.
So, Ishita, G20.
Yes.
Do you think it is a group of 20 countries?
No, sir, there are more than 20 countries because the European Union is also part of it and under it a number of countries are given representation.
So, it is how many countries?
Sir, I think it is around 57 countries, but I'll have to recheck it.
Okay. And India has the chairmanship or presidentship. What exactly we call it?
Sir, while the presidentship and the chairmanship is rotational, but I think
no, what is the exact word? Technical word is what? Do we call it is chairmanship or is it called presidentship?
Sir, I think it is presidentship. I will check it.
I have check up that. No? Okay. And current year is with us.
Yes.
Previous year was with whom?
So Indonesia.
Indonesia. Next year? At 24?
Sir, it is Brazil.
Brazil. That's good. So far, what have been the achievements for India as being the chairman of G20 group?
Sir, I think India has successfully showcased to the world that the global south can successfully determine what should be the resolutions, what should be the motions for discussion in the external affairs meeting also and as well as the finance community. However, sir, there has been issues around finalizing what the communique should be because there are conflicting views of different countries.
In fact, sometimes I think, is it a political group or as per agenda, it was supposed to be economic and financial group?
Yes.
It's not a political group, or is it a political group?
So in 1999, when G20 was envisaged, it was envisaged as for the emerging market economies and for them to have a better say in the geo-economics of the world. But so currently, given the hard geopolitics that we are witnessing across the world, such elements are also entering in the economic discussions, in the economic decisions of G20.
Okay. Supreme Court sometime back has given a judgment creating a collegium for appointment of election commissioners.
Yes.
Now, there's a new collegium now.
Yes.
So, point is that whether Supreme Court was right in prescribing a collegium for this when the article such and such in Constitution already prescribes how the election commissioner will be appointed.
Yes.
There is a
Yes, sir.
point given there. So, do you think there was enough vacuum that Supreme Court had to come in between, or you hold some other view?
Sir, I believe that the constitution drafted 7 decades ago gave this power to the parliament to decide how the election commission should be appointed. But the fact that for 7 decades no decision was taken.
So all these years, how the appointment was being done for the election commission, if there was no rule?
So there were rules, but it was not decided by the parliament.
Where the rule is written?
Sir, I'll read about it.
The article itself says so.
Yes.
Okay. You had done your BA honors in economics and political science.
Yes.
Which was your major subject?
So economics.
Economics was major subject. Do you think this share market reflects the economy of the country, or it doesn't reflect?
Sir, I think the share market and the capital markets broadly reflect the sentiment and the growing economy of our country. However, sir, in recent times, we have also seen that the price to earnings ratio is not directly reflective of the growth rate of the countries. So conventionally, sir, yes, the share markets do reflect how India is a vibrant economy and a growing economy. But sometimes in certain companies, we are seeing this mismatch also.
Long-term trends are reflecting.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
So, Ishita, work experience in Ernst and Young
Yes, sir.
and risk analyst.
Yes, sir.
Right. So, I give you 4 risk parameters.
Okay.
Tell them in order of serious most to least serious. First is revival of pandemic. Second is happening of World War III. Third risk is US banks collapse. More banks getting collapsed. Fourth risk is meltdown of global economies. Place them in order of risk perception that you think.
So can I please take a moment? Sir, in perspective, having a global perspective, I think that the Russia-Ukraine war, which is sometimes also being perceived as a World War III, would have high risk for the global south and as well as the emerging market economies in terms of stability in their macroeconomic indicators. The second risk, sir, would be to the geoeconomics of the world, that is the collapsing of the great banks in America, that in United States of America, we saw the Silicon Valley Bank and the Signature Bank and now Credit Suisse in Europe. So this would be the second risk that can destabilize banking across the world, as we had seen in 2008. So the third risk would be overheating of the global economies, because these are our export markets for the global south, and this affects our exports, thereby increasing our current account deficit. And lastly, sir, revival from the pandemic. I place this at a lower risk because we have seen how economies are overcoming the effect of the pandemic in the last 2 years.
Good. Ishita, you have participated in Dubai
Yes.
Millennium Summit.
Yes, sir.
So I give you a topic for Millennium Summit, war and global economy. So just bring this topic to a conclusion. 2 minutes. You are addressing the summit.
In a globalized world and in an interconnected world, any conflicts or any escalating situations in one part of the world can quickly escalate and spread like wildfire to other parts of the world. We have seen this in the recent Russia-Ukraine crisis, wherein any invasion in Ukraine led to economic fallout in other parts of the world. We had seen how global commodity prices rose, affecting the basic necessities of the people. We have seen how oil prices rose across the world and affected the day-to-day lives of the people. To improve this situation, a better collaborative way forward is required. it is very important to bring both the parties back to the high table of diplomacy to ensure that there is dialogue and deliberation. India, as a responsible power, calls for the cessation of all violence and bilateral negotiations between the two warring countries. With this way forward, I believe that with better dialogue and better deliberation, we can bring an end to the World War or the Russia-Ukraine war, and thereby bring world peace.
All right, good. Indo-China Youth Delegation.
Yes.
So China is having a population disaster these days. On one side, there is zero, the balance is not being maintained. Mortality rate is much below 2.1.
Yes, sir.
On the other side, population of more than 65 years age is growing.
Yes.
So tell me lessons that India has learned from China's population disaster.
Sir, I believe that the most important lesson India has learned has been to avoid knee-jerk reactions without evaluating the long-term effects of the policy. China brought in the one-child policy and hastily withdrew it also after a few years when it realized the consequences. So India must evaluate its total fertility rates, not just at the national level, but also at the state level. In many states, it is already below 2.1. So this kind of data-driven policy making can ensure better long-term results.
Ishita, Fed rate hike in US
Yes.
and fall of SVB. How are these two linked? Why SVB fell when Fed rates went up?
Sir, Silicon Valley Bank, to safeguard all its deposits, had invested a lot of their funds into securities and mostly into securities without diversifying their risk. Sir, when the Fed increased the interest rates by 450 basis points in a very short period of time, we have seen an inverse relationship between the interest rate and the bond prices. So when these prices fell, SVB had seen that increasing claims on the deposits were there. So it had to sell those securities for a loss.
Oh.
This created risks
Fine.
for a bank.
Very good. Last question. What is Akhand Bharat?
Sir, I think Akhand Bharat is a narrative or a sentiment that is widely being seen. It is a perception of having better regional integrity in India as per our ancient times also. Seeing South Asia as a unified region rather than being broken into smaller parts or smaller countries. So for this regional integrity, I think India can take some responsibility to increase its trade, increase the intra-regional trade, and improve its relations with its neighbors.
Ishita, you have studied at Delhi for 3, 4, 5 years.
Yes, sir.
And other schooling is also from there. Can you tell me what are the changes we see with respect to women's security in the last 1 decade?
So prior to this decade, there was a horrifying incident that shook the conscience of entire citizens of Delhi. That was the Nirbhaya rape case. And after that, many positive steps have been taken. Firstly, sir, there is increased vigilance by the police. There are many women patrolling cars also. We are seeing also pink police stations that are women-friendly and having women officers. Thirdly, sir, regular advertisements I am seeing by the Delhi police in the newspapers about improving martial arts and improving self-defense among the women. So this has increased the consciousness of the people.
But any deficiency you feel is still there in terms of arrangements for some infrastructure for women's security?
Yes, sir. I believe that we can do better in this regard. The recent Kanjawala road accident case also said how regional disparity within Delhi needs to be improved. Lighting of the streets need to be improved.
Okay. Now, there is a talk of paradigm shift from women's development to women-led development.
Yes.
So, where do you see women-led development in India? Which are the areas, which are the sectors where we see that development is led by women?
So starting at the grassroots level, I think the self-help groups are setting a very good example of women-led development.
Next.
Sir, next would be the rising presence of women in the Indian Army after the Babita Punia case, and how they are creating a demonstrator effect in society. And sorry.
Okay, good. Ishita, can you tell me some steps taken by Government of India for economic development of tribals in terms of schemes or in terms of some policy measures? Economic development of tribals.
So, firstly, we have the Stand Up India scheme, that is for.
That is one. Yes. Move to next.
Sir, secondly, to improve their skills and education, we have the Eklavya residential model schools. And thirdly, sir, we have the MSP for MFP, minor forest producers, to improve the economy.
Ishita, why Afghanistan is so important for India? That we have kept some funding for them in our budget, sending wheat also 20,000 tons. And now we are providing them some online training for their so-called diplomats. Sorry.
Yes, sir.
So, what is our diplomatic or our strategic interest in Afghanistan?
Sir, I think Afghanistan is extremely important to the overall security architecture for India. Firstly, sir, it is a natural partner for India because it can help India contain Pakistan. Secondly, sir, P2P, people-to-people ties are very strong with Afghanistan. So, this soft power can be leveraged to ensure a better integration of the region. And thirdly, sir, we have seen how Afghanistan has been a victim of great power rivalries. So, India must have its due say also.
Okay. Ishita, can you name 4 schemes of Government of India which have made a significant change in the lives of women, particularly rural women? Even I would say they have proved to be game changer in the lives of women.
So, taking a life cycle approach, I believe at birth, there are a number of schemes of the government for Janani Suraksha Yojana. Secondly, sir, Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao for education of the girls. Thirdly, sir, a number of saving schemes also for like Mahila Samman certificates. And lastly, sir, for overall lives of the women, Jal Jeevan Mission, Swachh Bharat Mission, and all these schemes have a positive.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. So, Ishita, in emerging country like India, capital expenditure is necessary to stimulate economic growth.
Yes.
However, it affects the fiscal discipline and macroeconomic stability. So, how do you analyze this situation?
So, the recent budget had also increased its capital expenditure, which is now 3.3% of the GDP, rupees 10 lakh crore. And while this can have effect on the fiscal discipline of the government, I believe that this is a right step in the long run. Capital expenditure creates a virtuous cycle of growth, wherein more investment brings in more employment and thereby contributes to the larger growth of the economy.
Coming to your optional PSIR, who is your favorite political thinker and why?
So, the ideas of J.S. Mill have always resonated with me because he was one of the first modern thinkers to also talk about the rights of women and how women should be brought into the public sphere.
What's your take on same-sex marriage?
So, at an individual level, I think the ideas of love and desire should be given autonomy, also in line with the Supreme Court judgments of Navtej Singh Johar and all. But at a legal level, it must be evaluated what impact it will have in society, what legal provisions is it conflicting with, and what are the overall changes we require in the entire structure to accommodate such demands.
So I see from a DAF you are very good in sports, football, basketball, taekwondo.
Yes.
So can you highlight initiatives taken by Government of India for the development of sports in our country?
So the first and the massive initiative is that of Khelo India Games. This brings in a number of indigenous sports also and popularizes them. I think that's a good step. Secondly, sir, we have the TOP scheme to bring in athletes who are performing well at the Olympic Stadium. So that is also a good measure. Thirdly, sir, in Delhi especially, I have seen that how sports schools are being created, how sports is inculcated better into the curriculum of the day-to-day education. So I think these are some good steps.
So Ishita, why do you wish to join civil services?
So while I was working with Ernst & Young, I evaluated what should be my long-term career option. And civil services was preferred, sir, because in the beginning of the career, it provides a number of opportunities for policy implementation. And these learnings can be utilized for policy advisory at the end of the career. I believe that it provides an intellectually stimulating environment. And at a personal level, sir, I would derive a great sense of satisfaction to contribute to the overall development and governance of the country.
Okay, thank you, Ishita. I pass on to Chairman, sir.
So, Ishita, anything which we may not have covered from your depth? Maybe the last question could be from that missed area, if any.
Sir, I feel the interview was sufficiently covered a number of areas.
Okay. So, Ishita, we close the interview now. You may proceed to the waiting room. We'll call you again.
Thank you for that.
So, Ishita, how do you think you have done today?
So, I think overall
It went well. Okay. So, Ishita, you were really very good. You have really done excellently well. And I mean, the panel would not hesitate to say that it was almost flawless. You had the energy, you had good communication, you were concise, you were confident, you have a good personality, pleasing, the ease with which you tackle questions and came out with very cogent, very qualitative answers with good content, to the point. We are very impressed. So, as such, I have nothing to add from my side. So, I pass on to a member. Maybe in the end, I may add something from my side.
So, Ishita, maintain what you are there. And keep on revising your subjects, current affairs, because current affairs keep on changing.
Yes.
In terms of Constitution of India, new ideas keep on coming.
Yes.
Impinging on separation of power these days, it has become a fashion.
Yes.
Even today's paper says that government has said that they are keeping room for the judiciary. People have not noticed this. It will create problem. The judiciary doesn't need a room from the government. So all these things that war of world is going on. So you keep in touch with that because you are a student of political science and international relations.
Yes.
So whatever keeps on there, on controversies, don't land up yourself in the midst of controversy. Have an academic viewpoint of the issues. Pros to, cons to, like that. Whatever issue comes. So take a distant view, not the view from the center of the problem. So that way you will be able to steer clear of any difficulties with the board. Okay. Otherwise you're fine. Okay, thank you.
So Ishita, excellent. All replies were balanced, to the point, analytical, and the manner in which I expected. So I have nothing to advise you. Akhand Bharat, while you did mention everything, just look into the areas that comprise of complete Akhand Bharat. Okay? Myanmar to Bangladesh to, so the map of Akhand Bharat should come in front of you and give examples of Afghanistan. So this concept is being talked of. So think about it. So wish you all the best. Your analysis was excellent. Risk analysis. Keep it up.
Nothing more to add. An excellent candidate. I see you in the frame of a civil servant, future civil servant. All the best.
Ishita, so keep it up. So no need to change anything. You were very good. One small advice I would like to give you personally: avoid going for more mocks. You are ready, and even if you go, don't take their advices very seriously, because we have 3 former UPSC board members here, and we all believe that you are ready for the interview. Especially your reply on civil services was one of the best. So don't change it. So keep it as it is.
Absolutely fine. That was
Very good.
So
Just-
I rephrased it like 15, 20
So-
times and refined it.
So this is the best one.
Now it is
Keep it at
excellent.
It is one of the replies
think-
And don't
which
get
cannot be further
confused.
improved.
I have never heard a better reply.
Yes, perfect answer. So don't change it. Okay, so wish you all the best.
Thank you.
So
So, Ishita, anything you would like to ask us?
Sir, if I may, it's about a rumor in general. But sir, Chaubey sir's board is considered very on a very diverse set of topics, and the DAF area is not touched much. So, but in the end, they do give an opportunity. So, in that answer, sir, should I bring out any personal aspects like sports or that it has shaped me on my visit to China? That can
No, I could not understand. You mean to say in what context? A diverse thing.
Sir,
They may ask you diverse things.
yes, sir.
You know, running into current affairs, international, national. Incidentally, your subjects have been such, Ishita, that I think we asked you quite diverse questions
Yes, sir.
because your background and your experience. I mean, you are political science, you are international relations, you have done economics.
Yes,
You know, these are all things which I would say diverse.
yes, sir.
You know, somebody who's done history or, you know, maybe they'll keep asking about history. But it's always better to prepare both the DAF as well as diverse, because you're not sure you'll end up in Chaubeyji's, board. Not necessarily. And Chaubeyji, you see, Chaubeyji doesn't dictate to other members कि उनसे ये पूछो, उनसे ये पूछना. They're all independent. कोई बोर्ड का कोई गलत चीज अगर कुछ जा रहा है लाइन पे तो भैया इनसे ऐसी चीज है, ये क्वेश्चन थोड़ा ऐसे मत पूछा करे, या थोड़ा टाइम का थोड़ा सा जल्दी करो भाई, टाइम ज़्यादा मत लीजिए, कम क्वेश्चंस पूछिए. बट क्वेश्चन क्या पूछ रहे हैं उसके बारे में टोटल इंडिपेंडेंस है. एंड दिस बोर्ड मेंबर्स दे कीप चेंजिंग. सो चेयरमैन इनिशियली वो तो शुरू में वही आप कोई गलत मत बोलना, जो बोलना सोच के सही बोलना, हमें झांसी में मत डालना, कोई नहीं समझ में आए तो हमसे पूछ लेना. These are some of the sentences which you must have read the transcript.
Yes.
So otherwise they don't dictate. So the possibility of some member asking you from DAF or some member asking you from any diverse subject is very high. An academician जो हिस्ट्री का होगा वो आपसे हिस्ट्री का पूछ लेगा, कोई इकोनॉमिक्स का आएगा तो वो इकोनॉमिक्स का. तो अगर डैफ से रिलेटेड अगर आप मानो तो इकोनॉमिक्स इज डैफ रिलेटेड आल्सो. जो इकोनॉमिक्स का स्टूडेंट नहीं है उसके लिए डाइवर्स है.
Yes.
है ना. सो व्हाई डिड यू मेंशन स्पोर्ट्स का, क्यों आप कह रही थी? आप अपनी तरफ से क्या कह पाएंगी? वो तो आप इनिशियल व्हेन यू इंट्रोड्यूस योरसेल्फ यू विल बी लिमिटेड टू फ्यू थिंग्स. Then why are you asking this? Should I tell about sports and all what?
So in case it doesn't come up across the interview in the end, if
When
I
they
have-
ask a question,
yes,
like I asked you a question.
yes.
Okay.
Do you want to add something?
You must, in that case, you must ask, the member, the board, that yes, sir, if you can ask me something on this.
Okay.
It is always good not to say no,
Okay.
and ask something. And you have such wide area, you can always, sir, ask me something more about international relations. Right? And I restricted my statement to only the DAF.
Yes.
But maybe they may not refer to DAF alone. They may say that anything you would like to ask which we may not have covered. So you can always say, if you remember something, football नहीं का हुआ मान लो, आप कह सकती हैं football का. Something you draw from here. If you can't recall, then you should mention something on the topic which you international relations are very, something more on macroeconomics. So maybe some question will come. It shows the boldness that you're ready for any question. And if they say that anything missed out from the DAF, if you remember it, you mention. If you don't, and at that point in time, don't spend time to recall, sir, let me think, don't do that. उस केस में the benefit of doubt should go in favor of no sir, thank you so much. ठीक है? Anything else? So we have given you 72%, Ishita.
But 98 marks.
For 98. So you would certainly you have potential to go beyond 200. Is this your first UPSC?
Yes.
Interview?
So third attempt, but first interview.
This is a golden opportunity, Ishita, because you're so good in interview.
Yes.
Because these opportunities, when people don't get, I mean, they are very, I mean, I would say it's very unfortunate for them.
Yes.
They are not able to write properly, but they are very good in interview.
Yes.
And vice versa also happens.
Yes, sir.
So now your strong point is coming,
Yes, sir.
and in cash on that. How have you done your mains?
So it was my first mains, so I'm only speculating. From my side, there have been no mistakes.
So I think we should see your photo in the media. But don't get complacent, you have time.
Yes, sir. I'll study.
एक महीने आप ढीली मत हो जाना.
बिल्कुल.
Keep the level, the bar up, okay.
Yes, absolutely.
All the best.
All the best.
All the best.